Jesus talked about faithfulness just after when he was talking to John on the island of Patmos, and he was sharing, and he said, those that will overcome, those that will stay with it until the end. Thank God for the sprinters. Thank God for the starters. But the victory is at the end to him that overcome. And I just want to encourage each one of you because I've seen people start and just fall away. I've seen it. I've seen a lot of that. I've seen people come and then fall away. But Jesus said to those that will run this thing till the end. And the interesting thing about it, you don't quite know when the end's going to be. So you can't be taking a chance saying, maybe I'll catch up later. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I really would. I wouldn't do that. You mess around and stop and start hanging out at the mulberry tree, tell me you're going to catch up later. I wouldn't do that. My race might be over for you. I wouldn't do that. No, really, faithfulness is a key. And I just wanted to encourage you. You've started and you're running well. Oh, yeah. You are running well. Stay with the race. Stay with the race, because the very fact that you're still in the race is a clue that you can finish the race. Because if the devil could have stopped you, he'd already have stopped you. He would have. But you have ran this thing up until now, and you're still in the running. So you can finish. Stay with it. Because this is real. This is not religion we're talking. This is real. This is your life. And you're going to run this race, and the day is going to come when you're going to end this. Your life is going to end on this earth. And what you have done is going to determine where you're going. And so be encouraged. Be encouraged. I know, don't talk to me about discouragement. Don't talk to me about feeling bad. Don't talk to me about your stomach hurting. Don't talk to me about that. Been all there, done all that. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It cannot stop you. But just make up your mind that you're going to run on. As God has taught us a lot of things last year. He really ended the year sharing some great things us about grace, his wonderful grace. And I got an understanding of grace that I've never had before. He taught us how to love one another. And he is teaching us. That's an ongoing subject of walking in love. Is not for discussion. It's not questionable. It's not something that you're going to start and finish. It's a way of life for the believer. But, and so what God is sharing with us is, he says, I want you to take what you have learned from me, and I want you to become solidified in that or locked in that. And get ready for the next tier. We're going somewhere. We're 30 years old. This 2020 marks the 30-year mark ministry for this ministry. And you have run well, starting from ground zero in our home, in our basement, 30 years ago. This ministry was birthed, and it has come to this place, to here where we are. And you have been part of those trailblazers. It takes time for ministries to get established. Ministries are not established in 2 years, 10 years, 20 years. They're not established in that. If you think so, check the record. You'll find. But we're getting into a place where we are about to become a part of the permanent class. We're about to move into an area where you'll be considered to be a permanent party. It's kind of like going to work with a company, and they let you work there for a while before they consider you as a permanent employee. Ministry is somewhat like that in a sense. You got to run and develop until a point where you become a permanent fixture. And we're about to cross over that line where we are becoming a permanent fixture, getting locked in. And so if whatever is going to be permanent has to have a high standard. We don't want to establish substandardly, but we want to be established at the standard of operation. Are you with me? Amen. And so that's going to require some a commitment on a part on. I've learned and read and learned some things about ministry. My grandfather was part of birthing a ministry. I grew up in that church. That church is now 100 and what? They celebrated 100 and somewhere along in there. Yeah. My grandfather was a part of that. And so grandson is a part of this. And so grandson is doing this now here, where there was in another whole state. That happened in the state of North Carolina, but this is in the state of New Jersey, where this thing that's happening right now, and you are a part of that vision that God has transplanted from there to here and launched a vision here, and now it is to move forward. I was listening to we was having our Christmas family thing there Saturday, Friday, Tuesday night, and I chuckled at my little grandson, Darius. I don't know where he is. There he is. So Dennis was talking about being the first family. He wanted to know how long we're going to be the first family. So then he got it, and then he answered his own question. So, but my point is that this is where we are. And we're about to cross over into the threshold where we are becoming a permanent fixture, which means we're going to have to be totally solidified. We're going to have to be totally locked in, not being wishy-washy. You got to be solid. And there can't be a bad spot on you. And so God said He wants us to talk about building personal integrity. Building personal integrity for the tasks that lie ahead. Now this is very real. This is not what did they preach about something? Well, that's what they preached about. But that's not like that. This is real. Amen. When God talks about building permanent, He's talking about being established, because whatever you are, that's what's going to be built upon. You are the foundation for what is to be built upon. And so if there is a crack or a flaw in you, then the whole building is going to be flawed. And this is why God is saying, I want you to be established in integrity, the integrity that I have given unto you. I want you to be established in that. Established means this is the way we are. We are a people. We are a holy people. We're not people that's trying to do something holy. We are a holy people. We are a people of standard. We don't just try to do something, but we are a people of standard. We are people that are going to, we are who we say we are. We're not trying to be something. We are it. Because we are what's being built upon. We are that foundation whereby this ministry is built on. I understand the building process. I was in the building industry, and you dig a foundation, you dig down into the ground, and if you want a building to stand, you have to have a solid foundation under it. And I don't care how wonderful and how beautiful your building is, if that foundation is not solid, if you don't have the proper rebar and proper amount of concrete in that foundation, it's going to crack. And I don't care how beautiful that building is, and I don't care how much money you pay your architect, that building is going to shatter. Why? Because the foundation is incorrect. God is saying to me, He says, you inform the people that you are the foundation. And we have to be solid. So talk to them about integrity being established in the God standard, the God level of integrity, because we are what's going to be built upon. People are going to come into this ministry and they're going to learn about Jesus, so we have to be right in what we tell them. They're going to be watching you. And this is why God is dealing with the young people in this church, because they're the visible ones that's going to be seen. They're the product of this ministry. And they're the ones that's visible, that's going to be seen. And they have to be solid. And then those that are, we have to be, we must be established. So building personal integrity within ourselves, I have to be right. I can't look nowhere until I'm right. And then once I'm right, then I can assist someone else. Amen. And that's the way it's done. Jesus was the same way. When Jesus came into the earth, when he launched his ministry, the first step of Jesus' ministry was not on anybody else. The first step in Jesus' ministry was on him. He solidified himself. He established himself. He went into that, when he come up out of that water, he was baptized in water, he come up out of that water, and he went into the wilderness. And he fasted for 40 days. He persecuted his own flesh for 40 days to establish himself, because he is the foundation for the church. Amen. So it has to be right. Amen. There's no flesh in the church, because he made sure that there was no flesh in that foundation. So he brought his own flesh to nothing. 40 days, if you can imagine starving yourself for 40 days. Now, God began to talk to me about some things, and I know it's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt you. It's going to hit you. It's going to hurt you. It's going to hit you, but don't worry about it. In the end, you're going to be standing strong. And this is so basic. But we eat too much. We eat too much. We're trying to do God's business and do flesh business at the same time, and it ain't going to work. And I know it wasn't going to go over well, and I said, they ain't going to like that. He said, well, I told you, I taught you, I showed you. It's working for you, so you better tell him. And we don't like to hear that. But most of us eat too much. We eat too much. We eat all the time. The world eats too much. We have an eating habit that's just off the chain. We just simply eat too much. I mean, when you think about what Jesus did to bring himself into a point where he could listen to the Father and not his body. He crucified his own body before Calvary. He did it himself. And that's what he did. That's what that 40-day fasting is about. Now, I didn't say, don't go and tell no lie. I didn't tell you to go on no 40-day fast. So don't go ahead and tell that lie. Somebody said, Pastor, I got to go on 40 days. The pastor didn't tell you that. The pastor just simply told you eat too much. You decide how you're going to fix that. You follow? Now, we've established that as a way of life. That's what's going to make it so hard for you to deal with. And but as a result of us eating too much, we have raised up a whole new industry just by eating too much. That's what all these gyms is about, because people eat too much. The whole diet industry, we have raised it up because people eat too much. And so we do it, and then we try to rectified, better, I don't know how we do it, and they're going to fix it and keep eating. Now, it reminded me of a joke, and this is a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's not real. It's a joke about this lady that was just, she just looked like a bale of cotton with two legs on it. But she, back in the early days of the charismatic movement, we were about talking about casting out the spirits and all this, And so she liked pig feet and stuff like that, And so she just got this whole big pork chop, had a big pile of pork chops up there, and prayed over it, and then just went up trying to say, you can't eat it. She said, no, I prayed over it. I cast out this, I just prayed over it, and it's good for eating now. But we have that. But that's seems to be the attitude. We're trying to eat the cake and have it too. What do you mean? Well, we're gonna just eat, and still be in shape. Ain't no such thing as that. But we do it, and then we've created all these extra industries. The medical system, our medical industry could be cut in half if we stop eating. Most of your medical problem is a result of your overeating. Now, I know many people ain't going to say they're going to disagree, they fuss and go get mad about it. Some may even leave the church, but that's your problem. No, but it's the truth. Most of our medical high blood and all that stuff is because you eat too much. But if you just simply stop eating and eat what it takes to cause you to live, you cut your medical bill in half, I bet you. You wouldn't have to go to the gym maybe once a week. If you wouldn't have to go at all. Or just park your car in a far parking spot and just walk to the shop right. They get you walking in right there. But you don't want to park with it. You want to start right by the door. Because you don't feel like dragging all that weight across the parking lot. That's the truth. But this is something that you're going to have to recognize within yourself. It's a habit and it's a spirit that has you. You're not going to just say, well, I'm not going to do it no more. No, you're going to do it. You got to make a decision. You can make a godly choice to stop eating. You can do that. So what I'm about to teach you here is going to because it is the power of God's word that's going to qualify us for the task that lie ahead. And that's what we'll do. See, it is the Spirit of God. Remember what happened. Remember Jesus. Here's why Jesus was able to do what he did. When he he was baptized, what was the first thing that happened when Jesus came up out of the water? You know what happened. The Spirit was descended upon him like in the form of a dove. Remember that? The Spirit, when he was baptized, the Spirit was upon him. And watch this. See, get this, people, get this. When the Spirit come upon him, that qualified him to do everything that he had to do. The first thing that the Spirit did in him, worked in him and did, it caused him to bring his own body under subjection. It wasn't the man that fasted for 40 days. It was the Spirit inside of the man that gave him the ability to do that. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. When God called me into ministry, I was not the size that I am now. If you don't think so, ask my wife. You know what I mean? So I was eating just like the world eat. I was just eating too much, and I had me a nice petunia. But I didn't realize that was a hindrance for my ministry. I didn't realize that because I was unhealthy, and I could not carry a healthy gospel in an unhealthy body. And so God arrested me and told me right away. The Spirit of God was in me. I didn't do this on my own. The Spirit of God was in me and shut my mouth and shut me down and turned me away from it, showed me how to get away from the table. I just quit eating. by the Spirit of God, not by Owen Alston, because if it had been by Owen Alston, I'd have kept eating. You better get this. I'm not telling you I did anything. It is by the Spirit of God, and if you don't receive the Spirit of God, if you don't receive Holy Spirit, you're not going to do anything because you can't. You are no match for your body. Amen. But the Spirit of God is a match. You see. God taught me and shut me down. Told me how to do it. He just told me about it. I had to do this by the Spirit. And the Spirit of God shut me down and did the same thing I read about Jesus. Same thing, just following Jesus. That's what he did. The first thing he did was he reduced himself to nothing. That's what 40 days without food will do for you. It'll reduce you to nothing. You don't have no bad attitude. You don't have no attitude at all. You don't have nothing. You couldn't cuss if you wanted to. Got no strength to cuss. You are so innocent and so feeble, you don't want to do nothing. Your flesh is reduced to, I tell you what, go 40 days and don't eat nothing. You'll find out how weak you are. Somebody can do anything to you, you won't say a word. Why? You are reduced yourself to nothing. Wow. That's exactly what Jesus did. And from that point, he is able to do God's business. I know what I'm talking about. Because I had to do likewise. Reduce myself to nothing. Whereby best you can do is just breathe. And then you're fit for the master's use, then God can raise you up and utilize you. But as long as you just hollering and laughing and eating and drinking, you ain't going to do nothing but eat and drink and get fat. That's all you're going to do. Well, you'll do some things. You'll do some things. You can do some things. But you're not going to be in a position to do what you really need to do. And God is preparing us for what lies ahead. Because God's going somewhere with us. I'm telling you, he's going somewhere with us. And if you don't get in line, you're not going to be able to keep up. But you can do it. But you're going to do what you do by the Spirit of God. You see. Now, let's let God do some talking. See, this is now. Don't get all panicking now. Don't get all. Here we go. Don't do that. Amen. Because you can't do anything anyway. Everything. Every and anything that's going to be done in you is going to be by the Spirit of God. Don't worry about it. You can't do anything. And that's how the devil mess people up. And that's how the devil goes, you can't do that. Look at that. You can't do it. See, that's devils talking to you. You can do all things. How? That's it, see. You can do all things through Christ. And you got to actually live that. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens. Christ who strengthened me. And Christ is the example. He said he made himself an example. God did not have to record Matthew 4 and Luke 4 for us. Why did he record that for us? So that we could see how it's done. Amen. Now, whether you choose to do it or not, that's you. But God put that there so that we can see how it's done. You have to reduce, before you can launch spiritually, you have to reduce yourself physically. The natural, the flesh has to be brought to naught. And then the spirit will excel. And then throughout your life, you got to keep the spirit man got to be always above the flesh man. Because the minute the flesh man get up here, guess what you're going to do? The flesh going to take charge. I said the flesh going to take over. As soon as he get bigger than this guy, but you got to keep this guy bigger than the flesh. That's all Jesus did. Now, however you do your flesh, that's up to you. However you do it. You can do it however you do it. But as long as you keep flesh underneath the spirit, long as you keep the spirit man up here. But however you do it, fine. But you got to be subordinate. Your natural man have to be subordinate to the spirit man. It has to be. You can't be just running around and yagging and quack and all that. And say, no. Have you ever been around people and mentioned Jesus and they get just as quiet as the church mice? Well, you knew who was in charge in that body. Because the minute you mention Jesus, they got nothing to say. And they'll try to change the subject and try to talk about that football as soon as they get a chance. But they're not going to say nothing. They're not going to say anything long as because the spirit man is so small, you can't even hear him. You understand what I'm saying here? You see? So you, by the Spirit, is going to have to come up with a way, because people are different. People are different. You're going to have to figure out, and God will show you what it takes for you. I don't know what it takes for you. God showed me what it took for me. I can't, see, that's why I say, that's why you can't go do what you see somebody else do. You got to allow God to teach you. Amen. Because you're the only one, that flesh that you got, that's the only one on the earth. That's right. That's right. That's the one you got? Yeah. That's the only one on the earth. Yeah. That's right. So you got to find out from God, how do I get this guy down here where I can operate in the Spirit? You got to figure, and He'll show you. But don't go to try to go do what see somebody else do. Amen. You can learn principles from other people. But don't go, I'm going to do what Mark did, and I'll be all right. No, I don't think so. You follow what I'm saying? What am I saying? You're the relationship with Jesus. You're going to have to find out what does it take for me? God, what does it take me to be in so I can be in my rightful place so that I can effectively carry out your purposes and plans that you have for me? Show me how. That's all I'm saying. And God will show you how to do that. You follow what I'm saying? But the commitment has to be to Him. But, okay, let me show you some. Let's go to the Word here, and I got to show you some things here out of the Word of God that Jesus is sharing with us on how we're going to. Matthew chapter number 7. And let's pick, I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this from the NLT. Matthew chapter 7 and verses 4 and 5. Jesus is speaking here. How can you think of saying to your friend, let me help you get rid of that speck in your eye, when you can't see past the log in your own eye? Hypocrite. He calls this person a hypocrite. Because this person, now what is he doing? He is qualifying, you got to be qualified, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about building you up, building up your integrity, so that you can be qualified for the task that lie ahead, because there's a task that lie ahead for you, every one of us. As long as you are considering somebody else, and rather than looking at you, you're never going to be qualified. He calls you a hypocrite. He says, hypocrite. He said, first, get rid of the log in your own eye, then you will see well enough to deal with the speck in your friend's eye. Now, what God has called us, He has saved us, and He has called us. Listen to me very carefully. There's a calling on your life, whether you know it or not. I'm here telling you. And I can give you a scripture to confirm that. There is a calling on your life. You're called to interact with other people. You're called to impact the lives of people, whoever they may be. You cannot do that unless you are intact. Because if you go try to impact the life of someone in a substandard condition, you're going to be raising up substandard people. And God don't need no more devils. We got enough. So that's what you are called to do. In 2 Timothy 1:9, the Bible says God has saved us. He has called us with a holy calling. In other words, you are called. Everyone in this room is called. If you are born again, God has called you. Amen. He has saved you. He has called you with a holy calling, not according to your works, but according to His own purpose. So God has a purpose for you. And if you are not qualified to do what he has called you to do, then you're going to be raising up and producing unqualified people. Wow. Because you're not even qualified. Wow. And they're watching you. Now you see why we have to be in our rightful place. We must be where God, we must operate at God's standard. That's why we preach holiness here at this church. Amen. Holiness is the standard.
Yes, that's right.
Holiness. Not just kind of whatever you want to do. No. Holiness is the standard. Amen. Purity. We teach our young people purity is the standard. I won't teach you substandard lessons. Amen. But what God says, and God said, I want this people to be a people according to my word. You have to be at the God level. Holy is the standard, the God way. Not just saying, well, just kind of word that God understand. No. It's by my spirit or it's not. That's where we are. That's where we are. I can't preach a half a gospel to you. I'm not going to come in here and tell you, well, just do the best you can. God understand. I won't preach that trash to you. I won't preach that to you. Well, God understand. Just do the best you can. That's trash. That's not the gospel. Holiness is the standard. Without holiness, God, you can't see God. That's not a bad thing. And it's not an unattainable task. It is attainable. It's easy enough to do. That's not hard. Holiness, all it is a decision. It's a choice. I choose God. I choose to live holy. That's all it is. It's not about, what you can do. Everybody knows what you can do. That's nothing. God never told you to do anything. He said, I didn't call you according to your works. My calling to you is according to my purpose and my grace, not according to your works. Understand that. And holiness is the standard. And so we have to come into this thing that way. We have to think that way. See, as long as your flesh is up here, every time God says do something, you're going to think, I got to do that. That's why you need to kick your flesh into the basement. Because that's the way you're going to think. If your flesh is all fat and in charge, when God said live holy, first thing you're going to think, oh, I got to live holy. He ain't even talking to you. He's talking to that man on the inside. You understand? See, that's why people back off. Well, I can't do that. Well, yeah, right, because the wrong one's talking. That thing ain't supposed to be talking. The Bible says, I've been crucified. It's no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. It's the spirit man doing the talking, not you. And as long as you're eating, you're going to keep him up there. He's going to be doing the talking because he's the one that's nice and strong and fat. He's going to be doing the talking. That's why you need to reduce him. You need to reduce your spirit man. You need to reduce your natural man. You need to reduce your natural man. Reduce him. See, when people can't get along with one another, that's not the spirit of you. That's your flesh. Why? He's been eating too much. He's too fat. He's big and strong, big and fat and strong. He can cuss loud. Yeah. Give you a piece of his mind. Wow. You fatten that thing up, now you deal with him. See what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
How about starving him? Reducing him? Bringing him to nothing? Then he can't talk. You understand? Well, are you hearing God? Yeah. See, the reason that you're having issues and all of your issues is coming out of the flesh. Wow. Whoever got on your nerve last week didn't get on your spirit nerve. That was your flesh nerve. That wasn't your spirit man. That was that flesh that's supposed to be dead anyhow. And you kept him up. got him walking, and got him talking. Are you still here? Now, God is saying, I want you to align yourself with my word. That's what he's saying here. He says, no, you're a hypocrite. Now, stop this. Stop this. The hypocrite, he called him a hypocrite. He's a hypocrite. First, get rid of the log in your own eyes. Then you'll see well enough to deal with the speck in your friend's eye. So there's no need for me to go try to witness to anybody until I'm squared away.
Right. That's right.
Did you notice? Now, watch Jesus. Now, come on. We have a pattern. Jesus, that's the Son of God. He just got baptized. And I know he got filled with the Holy Ghost because everybody saw it. Let's go to work. No, he didn't do anything. He went on out there by himself for 40 days. And we didn't talk to nobody. We didn't deal with nobody. What is he doing? Bringing this under subjection. He's bringing his flesh under subjection. Because when he started God's business, he don't want a peep out of this guy. Right. He doesn't want a peep out of him. When I'm doing God's business, I don't want a peep out of him. And I want to have him under such check that I don't want nobody else to help me raise him up. Because other people will raise you dead too. They'll raise you up too. No. He is dead. I'm going to keep him dead, and I'm going to go do my Father's business. That's what we're talking about, folks, here. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about taking that thing you got, that hunk of meat you're dragging around, and bringing it into subjection, and by the Spirit of God, rising up and be about your Father's business. That's what this ministry is about. It's not talking about pleasing your flesh. We're talking about bringing your flesh, putting your flesh in check, and being about God's business. Because when the flesh is so boisterous, you can't even hear God.
That's right. That's right.
You can't even hear him. Because your flesh is so loud. Because your flesh is loud in here and everything else out here in this world. But you got to bring this guy under subjection. And nobody is going to do it, but if it get done, nobody's going to do it but you. If you don't do it, it's not going to get done. God is not going to come in there and bring your flesh under subjection. You're going to have to do it. And I'm not talking about no New Year's resolution either. I'm talking about making a decision to subject your flesh and reduce it to nothing, whereby you can do God's business. Because that's what we're about. And that's the standard that we're going to be operating at. And if your flesh is going to keep you out of the ring, you can't go. You really can't do it. That's where we're going. But here again, now don't get panicky, because the only one that's panicking is your flesh. Mm-hmm. The only one that's going to panic over this is your flesh. Your spirit man is rejoicing. Yeah. Hearing this is rejoicing. Oh, yeah. Your flesh is panicking. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, come on. Oh, I can't do that. Oh. It's yours. It's your flesh. It's your flesh. Paul talked about this over in 1 Corinthians. He says, I keep under my body. I bring it into subjection. You got to do that. Jesus calls the flesh a hypocrite. He said, hypocrite! Now, Romans 2:1. Therefore, you are inexcusable, O man, whoever you are, who judge. For in whatever you judge another, you condemn yourself. Now, the flesh, by allowing your flesh to run wild, your flesh is irresponsible, it's insecure, and it's always trying to protect itself. That's the only reason that you're trying to get a mote out of somebody else's eye, because you're trying to protect yourself. The only reason that you open your mouth and say anything about anybody else is because you're trying to get the attention away from you and get it on them. Jesus says here, every time you do that, you condemn yourself. You see, let me show you. See, this is really, because we're working on, we got to work out, we got to get ourselves squared before we can do anything for anybody else. Amen. Psalms 34. Psalms 34. Psalms 34. Who is the man, verse 12, who is the man who desires life and loves many days that he may see good? Well, all of us are that way. Watch this. What shall I do? Keep your tongue from evil and your lips from speaking deceit. Keep your tongue from evil and your lips from speaking deceit. What do you mean keep your... You are out there, your mouth is so going, you cannot see anyone do anything that you think of without opening your mouth. You just got to say something. Why do you do it? You are trying to protect yourself. And every time you do this, you are condemning yourself and don't realize it, and you're not growing. People that mouth all the time, think they do it all the time, and they're not growing. They're not growing. No, you got to keep your tongue. You're going to have to learn how to shut your mouth. Because what do you mean getting the mote out of somebody? Talking about somebody else, what somebody else is doing. Practice keeping your mouth shut. By the Spirit of God. You can't do it in the flesh. You'll just run off at the mouth. You can't help it.
That's right.
But by the Spirit of God, practice. See if you can go a week and see stuff and don't say anything. The next time you see something, now you're going to see something before you get home, I guarantee you. See if you can keep your mouth shut. And particularly if you see someone doing something or wearing something that you don't think is quite right, or doing something or that you don't, you got to, why do you have to say something? Because you're a hypocrite. Wow. That's why you got to say something. Wow. I didn't call you that. I just read Jesus call you that. Did you see what he had on? Did you see what she did? Why do you have to say that? Why can't you just see it and keep your mouth shut? Well, I'll tell you why you can't keep your mouth shut, because you're a hypocrite. I didn't call you that. Jesus called you that. Jesus said that and said it like hypocrite, he says. Why are you trying to get the mote out of somebody else's eye, get a speck out of somebody else's eye, and you got a log in yours? Why are you talking about what somebody did? The only reason that you can say anything about anybody is if you have never done anything. Amen. The only reason. The only reason. The only way you can qualify to say anything. You say, but look at what they're doing. I don't care what they're doing. It's none of your business. See, we've been doing this so long, we think it's legal. We've been talking about people so long and what someone is doing that we think it's legal now. We've been doing it so long. And God didn't knock you half in the head, so you think it's all right. Jesus, here's a woman here that's committed adultery. Now, everybody know that's sin. Didn't bother Jesus. You know what he said? He who is without sin among you, let him throw the first rock. If you have zero sin, then you can say something to her. Now, this old girl committed adultery. Got caught at it. But you got to keep your mouth shut. That's hard. And I know what church she goes to, too. And Jesus said the only reason that you can open your mouth and say anything is if you have never done anything. Do you see how this works? Do you see what we're talking about here? See, this is an area we never walked in. Because we know, dear God, if I see somebody walking, if I see a guy walking down the street holding a hand with another boy, I know I can say something about that. Boy, I know I ain't never did that. I know I can say something about that. Shut your mouth. See how this gets tight. It gets tight. It gets tight.
Amen.
See if there's a log in your eye. And you talking about, you say, I saw Clive down at the Jew joint. Man, I know he shouldn't have been there. I know Jackie didn't know he was there. And you think it's legal to just talk like that. Well, it's not. The only reason you can say anything about what you saw Clive do is if you have never done anything. You see, we've been gossiping so long, and the church has been doing it. We all been guilty of it.
Yeah.
And we've been running our mouths so long that to us it's pure legal. But it's not. It's not. And if we're going to go where God wants us to go, you're going to have to shut your mouth and qualify. Otherwise, you won't make it. You got to get that. There's a log in your eye. And every time you run your mouth about somebody else, you condemn yourself. You drive yourself deeper and deeper. Have you ever seen contentious people? They just mean. I mean, they just mean, boy. They mean because they make themselves mean. They're not getting any better. They mean. They're getting meaner. Why? Because their mouth is going. It's a contentious mouth, and every time you open it, you drive yourself deeper. Every time you open it, you get worse. May I read this to you again?
Amen.
Therefore, you are inexcusable. Oh man, whoever you are. Boy, that's just a scatter shot. I don't care who you are. Whoever you are who judge. For in whatever you judge another, you condemn yourself. You're shooting yourself in the foot. Shut up! And you feeling good about it because you feel like, hey, I didn't get out there. I saw that. I would never go down there and do that. You don't realize how deeper you drove yourself into condemnation. You just condemn yourself. Every time you open your mouth, the Bible says you condemn yourself. And you just get meaner. That's why I never see, you ever see mean folks? They get meaner. Yeah. Sometimes older people, you would think that older people would get older and nicer. No, getting old won't make you nice. I seen just the opposite. I heard some stuff, I'm like, it'd make you shake. I'm like, ooh. But because a mouth that's been going like that for that many years just gets worse. That God said you condemn yourself when your mouth is going like that. And the bad part about it, you feel justified. Because society, all the societies, everything that you're talking about, yeah, you shouldn't do that. And I'm talking about you. People are always trying to come in and try to get me to talk about the president. I won't help them. I won't help them. I said, no, I'm praying for him.
Amen.
There you go.
I said, I can't do both. You mean I can get on my knees and pray for the man and then come and talk about him to you? Come on, I'm a hypocrite. Amen. Can't do that. So you find somebody to talk to. I won't talk to you about it. Amen. But you got to do that for yourself. I can't do that. Don't come to me, tell me about somebody else. Amen. Don't come tell me what you saw somebody do. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in what you saw. Amen. You say, but they go to your church. I don't care. I don't have a church to begin with. So that part's not even right. I don't even have a church. See, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Pastor, I'm going to tell you, don't tell me. I don't want to hear it. Amen. I don't want to be a part of your conspiracy. No, come on. See, do you see where we have to go? Do you see where we have to become that way? We have to learn, because here's the truth. Number one, you are not responsible for other people's conduct. Amen. You are not responsible for, but you're responsible for you. So whatever people are doing, I am not responsible for them. And I'm not going to make it worse with my mouth. Because when I start running my mouth, I'm making it worse, because now I'm contaminating somebody else's ears and driving myself deeper. I'm doing two things at once. Because if I go tell Ron what I saw her do, then as soon as she's going to think that she's going to say, oh, I heard about him. You see what I mean? That's yeah. You go. Why do we want to do that? It's just flesh. We feel like we are compelled to talk about something or to tell someone about something we saw. And we go tell this person what I saw that person do. And I do that. That person may not even know that person. But what's going to happen as soon as she sees that guy, she didn't even know him. She's going to think about what I said. Do you see how that works? Spewing discord. God, that's the thing God said he don't like. And we just mouth going. And then we feel so justified in it. Oh, let me tell you what I saw him doing. Let me tell you what I saw. Yakety yak, and talking, and people sitting by listening. They don't even know them. But as soon as they see them, they're going to think about what I said. And they're going to feel the same way that and then they're going to go spread it further. People, that's anti-gospel. We're supposed to be spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ. Amen. Not venom of the devil. Do you see that? And the mouth is the thing. Who would love to see long life and good days? What did God didn't say? He didn't say go get a second job. He didn't say go hit the lottery. He said shut your mouth. Don't you smell a rat? All you got to do is keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. Because number one, we're supposed to be spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ. Amen. That's what we're supposed to be spreading. That's what God is honoring. He's honoring us, and he's qualifying us to distribute the gospel. Wow. The gospel of Jesus Christ that has gone around the world. I was reading an article just last night. This ministry that has literally, they're doing a special on the gospel that started there in Israel. And literally, they have this beautiful map of it. They have it all mapped out. And they're starting with the missionary journeys that Paul took in the apostles, the direction of the apostles, and how it gone and went around the world. And I saw something that was very interesting. I thought, wow, the events that we have seen happen in the world wasn't about that event. It was about the gospel. And I thought when the Puritans landed at Plymouth Rock, it wasn't about the Puritans. It wasn't about that at all. It was about the gospel coming to this land. And now the gospel had hit this land and it went all the way across it. One of the most Christian nations in the world. Wow. I'm like, wow. Had nothing to do with that rock. I thought it was the rock, man. I thought it was the rock. I want to go see the rock. I want to see the rock. Ain't it about the rock? It's the gospel that has literally gone around the world. And our generation is really watering the gospel. That's what we're doing. That's the calling. But dear God, we got to be we got to be on board. We got to be on board. That's what our generation is water this gospel.
Yeah.
It's been preached. Paul says, I planted, Apollos watered. God gives the increase. Mm-hmm. And that's, but we got to be, but you see, we have got to be people. We can't play games anymore. No, games are over.
Amen.
We cannot play games. And God is saying, well, listen, I've developed you. I have blessed you. I have increased you. You lack nothing.
That's right.
Nobody in this church is lacking anything. Amen. Most everybody in this church has more than enough. So you don't need to be focusing on anything. The only thing you need to be focusing on is what I'm telling you to do.
Amen.
That's right.
I've fed you. I've clothed you. I've blessed your children.
Yes, Lord.
So I really want you to go preach this gospel. I really want you to water this gospel. I want you to be about my business. I want you in my face to hear my instructions from you daily.
Wow.
I have my instructions to give you on a daily basis so that you can effectively do what I'm calling you to do. But you got to be in shape. You got to be in shape. You got to be spiritually in shape to do this. And that's what God is saying. I'm telling you. It's not. I don't want to. Don't you listen. You're not. You have everything you need. Everybody in this church has everything you need. You don't need nothing. You got clothes. You got food. You got too much food. God is saying, you tell them I need their ear. Because there's things that I want to do, and they can be effective in doing what I want them to do, but I got to have their ear. And if they don't get in there and listen to me, then they're going to miss it. So I'm telling you. Now listen, I'm telling you, as we prepare to this year, now I know how busy we are, and don't let the devil mess you up. You're not busy. You're not that busy. You think you're busy and you think you're important, but you're not. You're not nearly as important as you think you are. But you better get in here and get this word inside of you. Some of you don't even know what a Thursday night session is like. Some of you have no idea what goes on here on a Thursday night. Some of you have no idea what goes on here on a Wednesday morning. Most of you know absolutely nothing about what goes on here at 6 o'clock every morning. Most of you know absolutely nothing about that. You ought to find out. Because God set this up. This is not something I set up. God set this up.
Amen.
It's not optional for you. What do you have so more important to do than to get in here and get the word of God inside of you so that you can do what God called you to do? There's nothing else. You think you are. You're not nearly as important as you think you are. If you keep thinking like that and keep being a hypocrite, because I didn't call you that. I didn't call you no hypocrite. I read that to you. Because your mouth is not right. But God is saying, what do you want now? I have fed you till you're fat. I have given you got money in your pocket. You got money in the bank. You got a car in the garage. You got houses. What do you want? I'm just giving it to you. God is saying, what do you want? I've given you everything. Most of you got more money than you ever had. And you know it's so. God is saying, what do you want? What are you waiting for to make a commitment to the calling that I've placed in you? God is saying, what are you waiting for? Now, I wouldn't shake my fist in God's face. I really wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I really wouldn't do that. I wouldn't keep running and ripping and running and talking about how busy I am and I don't have time. I wouldn't do that. I would listen. And this is the time to do that. It's time for us to just stop and say, okay, God, I thank you. I mean, all you do is look at yourself. Look at you. Look at how blessed you are. Every one of you. You got more than you've ever had before.
That's right. Amen. Amen.
God said, I did not fatten you up for the devil.
Praise God.
I raised you up to love people, and to become serious about your calling that I've placed in you. I've healed you. You're well. There are no sick people around here.
Praise God. Amen.
You think that's an accident? I've seen people, they got more sticks and hopping on more than you could. But you're walking upright. You're not hopping and dragging around. You're walking around healthy. God wants to know what you're waiting for. And God did not fatten you up for the devil, I'm telling you right now. He wants you to be serious about his business. All these young people here, that God has instilled you with a wonderful mind, skills and abilities. God didn't give you that for the devil. It's for his glory. It's for his glory. I'm just delivering the message. God is waiting for you to sit down with him and say, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to shut my mouth and listen to you. And do what you call me to do. That's not really hard. I know you're thinking, oh, I can't, that's too. No, it's not hard. It's easy. God said, my yoke is easy. Yes. And my burden is light. I love you. You are mine. Nobody's going to hurt you. When you go through the fire, you will not be burned. When you go through the waters, they will not overflow you. My angels are with you, protecting you. Nobody's going to do anything to you.
Praise God.
But I need your heart. And God's asking for your heart. You ready for that? 2020 is ready. That's it. The foundation is laid. I know what it's like to walk up to a site and the footing been dug and the foundation been poured. The rebar's in and the foundation been poured. Man, we ready to lay some brick. We ready to lay some block. We ready to put this building up. Well, that's where we are. The foundation is in. And we're ready to go. Are you ready to go with us? Amen. Well, then we're going to go and do it. Go ahead, stand to your feet. Amen. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Oh, God, this is going to be great. God, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. Personal integrity. Personal integrity. I got too much God inside of me to tell you a lie. I won't play games with you. I won't say anything behind your back. The only thing I'm going to do is elevate you. If I can't say something good about you, I won't say anything. If I can't love you, I'm not going to do anything to you. I won't say anything. I don't care what you do. You can't make me talk about you.
Praise God.
You see what I'm talking about? I won't say anything to you that's negative. I won't say anything to you that I won't say to myself. Amen. That's a good way to help train yourself. Use that to train yourself. Don't say anything about anyone else that you would not say about yourself. God told us to love our neighbor as ourselves. That's right. I won't say anything about anyone else that I will not say about myself. That's a good place to start. I'll keep my mouth shut. Amen. I won't talk about you. I won't ridicule you. I won't say what you did or didn't do. Amen. I won't do that. I'll keep my lips, keep my mouth from evil. Yes. See, that's a choice that you make. Mm-hmm. And as we prepare as we move forward in receiving what God has for us and anointing, when see, oh, God, living with Jesus is like, oh, that's the sweetest life you could ever live. Mm-hmm. Living with Jesus, bathing in his presence, loving the way he loves, respecting people the way he respects people, honor people the way he honors people, on purpose. That's what God's waiting for you to come to him and surrender to. Father, we thank you in this place today.
Thank you, Lord.
You have been so wonderful to us.
Yes. Thank you, Lord.
You've raised us up, dear.